You can only say one California slang word for the rest of your life. What is it?
I think it's California. Dope.
Okay, it might be.
I think it's dope. I say it a lot, and like my kids are like, "Do you think you're young and cool? You're like an old loser." And I'm like, "All right."
Hey, it's Josh Meyers. Welcome to another episode of the California Now podcast. I am so excited for this episode, you guys. We are bringing on someone I know very, very well. We met as roommates and castmates working for the Boom Chicago Comedy Theater in Amsterdam. We had a two-man show that led to our first big break on Mad TV, where we even shared a passionate on-screen kiss together. But perhaps the most important thing we share is a deep and abiding love for the state of California where we both live. I'm talking, of course, about my good friend, actor, director, producer, comedian, screenwriter, diehard Californian, Ike Barinholtz. You might know him from his roles on Eastbound and Down, The Mindy Project, or from his Emmy-nominated role as Sal Saperstein in The Studio. Or maybe you know him as the groundbreaking first ever winner of Celebrity Jeopardy. Ike, welcome to California Now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, my friend. That was a lovely intro. Hey, quick question. So you said welcome to another episode. So this is not the first?
This is not the first. No.
So you had a guest on before me?
Yeah, I've had a few. I talked to, I talked to someone.
Who are these people?
Well, I talked to a gentleman up around the Mount Shasta area who was telling me about an ancient race of people who live inside of Mount Shasta.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, who else?
Also knew some stuff about Bigfoot. I talked to a gentleman from the desert who knew about Yucca Man, who is the Mojave Desert's answer to Bigfoot, and also knows some stuff about alien sightings.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like two things. A, this is a Bigfoot podcast. And I was worried that there were other actors that you talked to before me, and I was going to be offended. But it sounds like you were talking to actual, real cool Californians. So I'm sorry that I was a little testy there.
Of all my friends, you remind me most of Bigfoot.
Okay, so this is what I was getting at. This is a Bigfoot podcast. Is this your roundabout way of getting me to appear in a Bigfoot podcast? Ha ha, you win. Yes. I walk like Bigfoot. Yes. Yeah. I show up in photographs like Bigfoot.
When we were roommates,
yeah,
and you were walking by my room, yes, you would always sort of pause and look in.
Yeah, I would do this a lot. That kind of famous, like Bigfoot's like, you're taking a picture of me?
Did you ever consider going anywhere else, or was Los Angeles always where you knew you were going to go next?
While I was still at Boom, my cousin, Adam Rifkin, a true Californian, he is a director and a writer, and he was making a movie, and he knew that I was acting and stuff. And he was like, come to LA and do like a day, and, I'll get you a part in this movie. And I came, and I was a waiter in a scene. It was my first acting job stateside. And I just like fell in love with LA, like on that trip. I had been once before and I like loved it. But coming there to work, I remember I went to the Man's Chinese Theater to see Meet the Parents with my dad, and I loved that movie. We were laughing very hard. And I remember like being in that theater. We went to dinner at the Ivy, and I got to act in a movie. And it was just like, that LA is still like in my mind, like the LA I see every day. It's that kind of Get Shorty, like late 90s-ish LA. I still like see it through that lens. And I just fell in love with it. That's just a long way of saying, yeah, I was definitely going to move there. I love New York City. It's great. But that was just LA I was just drawn to it like a tractor beam.
I mean, getting to more modern day, you were just nominated for an Emmy for Sal Saperstein.
And I lost. Thanks for bringing it up.
Huge congratulations. No, man. I mean, you're so good in that show. That show is so funny. And for those who haven't seen it and should be watching it, the show is kind of a satire of the movie industry in Los Angeles, something that you have a lot of experience with. And are there any moments in the show that you felt like, that this kind of thing has happened to you in real life?
Oh yes, yeah. There was, I've been very lucky to work in this business for a long time now, and I've been able to work kind of on both sides of it as an actor, as a writer, director, producer. And there's so many instances when we were shooting the show where I would turn to Seth Rogen and be like, "This happened to me," or he would say, "Yeah, this literally happened to me in a meeting once." The episode where we're arguing about casting and trying to be sensitive to who might be offended. Like we've been in conversations like that. I have had someone park in my parking space before, and I gotta say, like, I wish I could admit that I wasn't infuriated the 2 times it happened. 2 days in a row by the same actor. The same actor parked his car in my space, very clearly labeled, did it one day. We told the base camp PA, "Hey, I think he's in the wrong space." They told him. The next day he pulled in again. And I was like, "Dude, like, do you want to fight?" And the thing is, he would beat the hell out of me. So like I couldn't do that. There was a lot of moments in that show where I was like, "Oh yeah, I've been here." And it's just, the show really is, I think it's a love letter to the business, but I also think it's like a real love letter to LA and California. It's very like shooting that was like a fever dream, where you got to shoot in a bunch of John Lautner houses, like one of our greatest architects. We got to shoot driving up and down Hollywood Boulevard at night. We got to shoot at Musso and Frank's. We got to shoot right below the Hollywood sign. So as someone who does really love LA, it was just like every day you would go and it would just be like a candy store.
Let's talk about Jeopardy for a minute. You won Celebrity Jeopardy. Was it the first Celebrity Jeopardy?
They did it years ago. Like
Okay.
they did it in like the 2000s. And
Gotcha.
then they had stopped for a while. Then they brought it back. And then, I won the first of the new wave, basically.
And then they added you into the Contest of Champions.
Yeah, Tournament
of Champions. Sorry.
I'm a real stickler when it comes to nerd.
Which is, the people who win, I'm not knocking Celebrity Jeopardy here, but the people who win regular Jeopardy a certain number of times qualify for that Tournament of Champions. And you were in it and you won. You didn't win the whole thing, but you advanced.
I advanced out of the quarterfinals. Michael Davies, who's the showrunner, executive producer of Jeopardy, was like, "Hey, would you want to do the Tournament of Champions?" And as a Jeopardy freak, I was like, "Oh my God, yes." And I really went in with the understanding that I was going to be like a rag doll. Like I was like, my goal was to honestly, like three goals: to have fun, to not end up in the negative, and to get a couple laughs, and just, you know what I mean? Just kind of add a little levity to it. And, I showed up and all the other champs are there and I'm like geeking out because I know all these people from watching them, and they don't tell you who you're playing. And then they come in, they're like, "Okay." And they were like, Ike. And I was playing with this woman named Melissa, who's an incredible player. And then Ray Lalonde, who's like the, I don't know, like the Kawhi Leonard of Jeopardy. Like he's like, I think he won like 12 games in a row. So I was like, okay, well, I'm definitely going to lose. And I was just scrappy enough in the game to stay competitive. And then the final Jeopardy, category was poets of ancient Rome. And I was like, cool. I know a couple of them. Just honestly, kind of as a fluke, I had a little bit more money than Ray going into final, but Melissa was ahead, and just Melissa, who knows everything. She knows everything. And she just picked the wrong poet. She picked Juvenal, and it was Ovid. And so I won that. And then I went to the semifinals, and I can't remember what happens. But the semifinals, I made it like I was a 50-50. And I guessed the wrong one. Had I guessed the right one, I would have gone on and on. And
I know.
Got 4 or 5 times a day.
I know that you said you just wanted to, not be in the negative and have fun, but I also know that it still irks you that you could have advanced to the finals.
Could have gone to the finals. And in the finals, it's anyone's game kind of, because you play multiple. It's just like, God damn it.
Well, I mean, you're no stranger to succeeding in game shows. You and your father, who is dear to me, dear to you, dear to the world, who was a lawyer and then got cast in the show Jury Duty, where he played the judge, and is just beloved. You and your dad went on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and you won.
We won.
You won $1 million for a charity?
I won $1 million for charity. I had done Celebrity Who Wants to Be a Millionaire before a couple years ago. And I made it to like, I think the $250,000 question I tapped out on just because I wasn't sure. But then they came back and they were doing pairs. And at first they were like, well, maybe you and your brother could do it. And my brother was, he had booked.
Your brother doesn't know anything.
He doesn't know anything. No, he was in Italy with his family at that time, so he couldn't do it. So I asked my dad, because we grew up in a very Jeopardy forward home apartment where we just watched Jeopardy every night. And my dad was both of my parents are really, really good at it. And so my dad and I went on, and I have to say, like, we got a very lucky shoe of questions where it was just like the first like 10 questions. We were just like, oh, it's that. You know what I mean? It was just like, we just knew it. And then the real kind of drama was it came down to the $1 million. And it was this crazy question about a word called a Zax, Z-A-X. And it was a Scrabble question, basically. Like, what is this word, which is a certain amount in Scrabble? And we had 2 lifelines left, and one of them was ask the host. And Jimmy Kimmel, as it turns out, is like a Scrabble freak.
Yeah, I think he's Scrabble and crosswords and he
loves it. He's like, he plays in Scrabble tournaments, and he's like, listen, I don't know if this is what it is for sure, but I really think it's this. And my dad and I talked, and there's $500,000 on the line. If you get it wrong, you go back to, you walk away with like 32,000. So we were just like, oh, that's so much money. But there was just something about Jimmy's confidence, just the vibe of the moment. We were like, let's go for it. And sure enough, a Zax is a tool for cutting roofing slates.
It was very emotional for me to watch.
Yeah.
It was just to see you and your dad, and to know that $1 million was going to charity because of, how sharp you guys are. It's really something. It's weird to get emotional at a game show, but I 100% did.
I cry every time I watch Wheel of Fortune.
Every time. All right. So getting into some California living.
Yes.
Where you live in Los Angeles, where do you spend your time in California when you're not working?
When I'm not working. Ooh.
I mean, around town or around the state?
Yeah. A little bit of both. It's funny. I've never been like a beach guy. I just have fundamental issues with sand. Where it really gets in my shoes and my feet and like in my hair. I've just never been a sand guy. But my wife is a big beach person, and more importantly, my kids love the beach, and they have broken me. And now I actually really enjoy going to the beach. And the hack is if, and this is really more for like, older people, people with, kids and stuff. If you go to the beach early, it's empty. There's parking. Like it's so beautiful. So we love going to the beach. The Annenberg Beach House, I think, is a really like incredible place in LA. It's, the beaches there, they have a great cafe. They have like a pool. Like it really is just like municipal stuff for the community that works out really well. So we do love that. We love, we try to go on like a family hike kind of towards where you live, kind of like that Hollywood sign-ish hike near the caves. That is, I would say, a family favorite. We are big Grove people.
The Grove, it's a mall, but it's better than a mall. It's like it's an outdoor mall, and it's lovely.
If the Grove was just the Grove, it would be great. But it is connected to my probably favorite place in all of LA, which is the farmer's market, the original farmer's market. I've been going there for so long. You remember we used to go there with, Pete Hike and those guys on Thursday nights. And now I go and I shop, and the Monsieur Marcel, I could spend years of my life eating and buying stuff there. So that's a very big place for us. And then, we have our restaurants, we love Jones on Third is a big one. Sycamore Kitchen is a big one for us. We love, what else do we love? We love Max and Helen's, a new addition to the neighborhood, which is
yeah. I've heard of Max and Helen's, haven't been yet, but
unbelievable. They're doing wonderful things. And then as you were saying, like the great thing about California and the thing that makes it so unique to me, where I grew up in Chicago, which is just it's giant mecca, and then just surrounded by a lot of just flat land for many, many hundreds of miles, is California. You could be in sunny LA and drive 4 hours to Big Bear, and then or what we love, Mammoth. The Mammoth Lakes is really, really, really beautiful. Even if you're not going to ski, just to go up there and show your kids snow. We're very big Santa Barbara people. We love going up to El Capitan State Beach up there, and they got little cabins. You could do little. I don't want to call it camping, but it's you're in the woods, and it's so like beautiful and quiet, and but then we also love going up by like Silmar. We love going the Alisal Ranch, which is this incredible working ranch hotel where you can go on horse rides, and it's just incredible. Like there's the topography and the geography of LA is just, or of California is just, there's not a lot of places like it in the world.
Support comes from Rula. Hey everybody, I had a pretty big bout of depression about 10 years ago, and gosh, it just knocked me sideways, and I think one of the best things I did for myself to get through it and to manage it was just talking to people. And specifically, speaking to a licensed therapist was one of the most valuable things I think I've ever done for myself. Finding a good therapist can be very difficult, and finding a therapist that takes your insurance can be incredibly difficult. Also, I was driving to and from therapy, and just the commute of that and the time it took, I found to be a little bit frustrating. And man, do I wish I knew about Rula back then. Rula is an online therapy platform that makes sure that you're not going to get stuck paying the full cost out of pocket or paying for an expensive monthly subscription. Rula does things differently. They partner with over 100 insurance plans, making the average copay just $15 per session. That's real therapy from licensed professionals at a price that actually makes sense. Think about it. I mean, you use your insurance benefits for your physical health. Why wouldn't you also use them for your mental health? And Rula's not going to just give you the first available therapist. They want to know about your goals, your situation, your preference, your background, know what you really want to work on so that they can get you a curated list of licensed, in-network therapists who are actually aligned to your needs. Because Rula knows that finding the right therapist can make all the difference. And with Rula, you won't have to wait. They can find you a therapist as soon as tomorrow. Plus, Rula sticks with you throughout your journey, checking in and making sure that your care is helping you to move forward. Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that's actually covered by insurance. Visit rula.com/now to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know we sent you. That's rula.com/now. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget. You know, when we lived together, we lived in West Hollywood, and now we're sort of like, I'm in Hollywood and you're, close by. You're just a little bit south of me. But living where I do, I sort of never would think to go, I would never go on vacation to Santa Monica, which a lot of people in the world do. But for your wedding, which was in Malibu, we all stayed at a hotel in Santa Monica, and it's the only reason I've ever stayed there.
Yeah.
But it was like I was on vacation, even though I had an apartment very close by, but no one wanted to go home at the end of the night. You wanted to hang out at the hotel. And it was so nice to wake up there and go out to breakfast at a place I would never, I would never go to breakfast from Hollywood out in Santa Monica. And it sort of opened my eyes to just that part of town as, of course, it's a destination.
Those mornings on the beach in Santa Monica where it's like overcast and it's not too cold, it's just like, it's so nice. Like our good friend Hayes MacArthur, when we first moved here, he lived in Malibu, right up Coastline Drive. And like I remember like maybe the first weekend I had moved here and he was like, come up to Malibu, spend the night. And I remember like sitting on the deck, watching the sunset and having a beer. And I was like, why would you live anywhere else if you could? It's just like,
all right. Now, if you were to write a new movie or a television series based somewhere in California, where would you put it?
Oh, great question. I did a movie this summer and we shot a week in San Francisco. And I had not been to San Francisco for more than like a day in over a decade. And I completely fell in love with San Francisco again. Like it is so gorgeous. And first of all, the weather is incredible. It was like in LA at that time, it was like 93 degrees. And in San Fran, it was like 74 with a breeze. You know what I mean? But also just like the neighborhoods were so vibrant. A couple nights, one night by myself, I just went to Chinatown and just like walked through Chinatown, had dinner by myself at this incredible restaurant. Then a couple nights we went out with some of the other actors and just walking around. We went to the Giants game one night and walked home from the stadium. And I was just really blown away by like how like special San Francisco is. It's similar. Like I would wake up, they put us up at this hotel, like nice hotel, like the Fairmont Hotel. And you wake up in the morning and you open your blinds and you're just looking at Alcatraz over the bay. And it's so beautiful. So I would love to, there's been some great San Francisco movies, but maybe there's room for one more because I really, really, really just rekindled my love affair with that town.
If you were sending Sal Saperstein on vacation in California, what do you think? What's his kind of town or what's his kind of place?
I could see him going to Palm Springs and partying in Palm Springs, but I could also see him like getting a room at the chateau, even though he lives like 0.8 miles away.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, LA. I think he's like, yeah, I'm taking a staycation in LA.
Yeah. We have so many friends that used to work at the Chateau Marmont, which is a fabulous historic hotel. And as a result of that, we would get to hang out there. And then we had, a couple friends who would throw birthday parties there.
I had my 40th birthday there.
And your 40th birthday.
Yeah. It's the greatest place.
Yeah. My mother loves it. My mother used to stay there for like 2 nights every time she would come out. we saw Bjork in the lobby, and my mother said, "Is that Bjork?" And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "I'm going to go say hi." I said, "Name one Bjork song, and if you can go say hi." It was like, please don't go bother Bjork. She famously doesn't like to be pestered.
Name one Bjork song is the funniest possible thing you could say to your mother. It is crazy celeb watching there, though. Like when I first moved here, like you said, we had a ton of friends who worked there, and it was just like it was amazing. Like I remember one night, like Val Kilmer, fucking rest in peace, King, but like just coming in one night and just sitting down and playing piano, not super well, but incredibly confidently. Like so, where everyone was like, "Yeah!" Like it's, and I still go there. I was just there a couple weeks ago, and it's just it's just a fun place. Like when you're there, you're having fun. You're having a martini and people watching, and it's just also beautiful. And they've kept the aesthetic is really great. It's very, very fun. Clark Gable said, I think it was Clark Gable said, maybe not Clark Gable, but it was like Irving Thalberg or something. It was like, if you're going to get in trouble, do it at the Chateau Marmont.
Oh, good advice. Harry Cohn is the one who had the quote about the Chateau.
Thank you. I really honestly appreciate that.
On this podcast, on California Now, we love our sort of hidden gems in California. So there are places that are very popular that everyone knows about. But if we were going to do an on-location shoot, where would you send me?
Now this is a question. God, okay. Give me half a mo on this here.
Yeah. No, take your time.
Thinking like I'm for first off, I'm thinking food always, but then I'm like, maybe there's something a little bit, deeper than food. Jitlada is like one of the greatest. It's just a gem. It's not really hidden.
Yeah, it is a gem. I have been to Jitlada. It's great. The first time I went to Jitlada, we didn't necessarily understand the menu, and we ordered 4 things, and they were all the exact same spice combination and level, which was very high.
Yeah, I'm so like old now that I ask for like straight up mild, but it is the spice levels hot. But you're right. That is just okay. You know what? I mean, again, the Vista Theater.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing theater. Out of all of our friends, I would say we're probably the 2 biggest lovers of the ArcLight.
Classic, famous movie theater. The Cinerama Dome was sort of the hub of it. And then behind it was a series of theaters that were beautiful. They would give you a speech before every theater.
Great popcorn.
Great food, great bar. And it shut down in the pandemic, and I still there's always chatter that the Dome is coming back.
Well, I did read recently, like they just reapplied for a permit there, which gives me hope. And I've thought of my new final answer to bring it back to Millionaire. I love the Vista Theater. I'm going to go ahead and say Vidiots. I loved video stores. I grew up like hanging out in video stores, in the 80s and the 90s. And when we moved here, we would go to Blockbuster a lot over on Sunset. But every once in a while, whenever I was near Vidiots, I would go to the Vidiots and in Santa Monica, and they had every movie. And now they've reopened. They're in, I think, Highland Park
or Eagle Rock, somewhere.
Eagle Rock. I was just there actually the other night for the 40th anniversary. And it is just, if you are a cinephile, like that is the place to go and hang out. They have every DVD you could possibly want, which it's really hard to find movies now. Like that's the whole thing with streaming, is there's just like thousands of movies that you can't find streaming. So you have to support places like Vidiots who find these movies. So I'm going to go ahead and say those guys.
Maybe it's San Francisco, but if you could live anywhere else in California right now, or have a second home.
Okay, a second home. Now you're talking. Because a second home is one of those things that like I would love to have a second home, and I'm always sending my wife little what about this? And I was like, we don't have money for this. Like, I don't know why.
Right. We don't
Yeah,
even
I
have
don't know
room for
what
your DVDs.
yeah. Like, I don't know what fantasy you're living in. But I really do. I really, really do love that kind of whole Santa Barbara, Montecito area. There's a pizza place in Montecito called Bettina, and I love it so much that I wish I had a small home near there, just so I could go there.
Just near the pizza place.
Yeah, I don't need like a big beachfront mansion, but just like a
You just
little
need a place that has a table and one chair
table, one
to eat
chair,
pizza.
pizza oven. Those are the three things I need. But I really do love that area. I love that it is like not that far a drive from LA, so you could always get back. So I would say that area. Although I did love Solvang. Wait, what about Carmel?
Carmel's beautiful.
Oh, Carmel. Oh, our friend Scott MacArthur got married to Carmel, and it's the one time I've been there, and I was like, this is like the nicest place.
Yeah, it's beautiful. All the shops have water bowls out for dogs. There's like dog treats in every store.
Yeah. Carmel, final answer.
All right, very good. You're a Chicago guy. Chicago sports, you live and die for them. But who are your California sports teams?
Oh, great question. Because there are some people who are like, if you're from a city, you can only be fans of that team and no other of that city and no other cities, which is patently false. Even though I'm like diehard Bulls, Bears, Cubs, Hawks, growing up, obviously obsessed with Michael Jordan, the greatest player of all time. But I also really love Magic Johnson. I just loved watching Magic. I thought he was so much fun to watch. And so I always had a soft spot for the Lakers. And then when I moved here, I didn't appreciate the Lakers like everyone else did during the Shaq and Kobe times. I just didn't appreciate them. I should have. But I think I was like, no, I'm a Bulls fan. But after living here for 25 years, I love going to a Laker game. It's so much fun to watch this team. It's a really, to me, it's like a quintessential LA experience, a Laker game. It's so much fun. We're no matter where you're sitting, you get great seats, you got nosebleed seats. The vibe at Laker game is very, very, very fun. I also, it took me a minute just because the Lakers and the Bulls are not natural enemies. They're in different conferences. We played them once in the finals and beat them. But the Cubs and the Dodgers was a tougher meatball for me because they're both in the National League. There's a little bit of history there. They're not really, it's not like the Cardinals, but having been to hundreds of Dodgers games at this point, I absolutely love going to a Dodger game. I think it is a great stadium. I think it is just a really, really great time. And I will say this Dodgers team, specifically the last couple of years, is one of my favorite baseball teams of all time. I loved watching them this season. This was the best World Series of all time ever.
Yeah, it was so good.
It was just so thrilling, and the personalities on that team. You have Shohei, who I think is the GOAT. I think he's the Michael Jordan of baseball. I love Freddie Freeman. I love Mookie Betts. They're just such a lovable group of guys. And so it is very hard to live in LA and not be a Dodgers fan. So I would definitely say Lakers, Dodgers, and we go to quite a few Sparks games, and they are incredibly fun too. Sparks games, so much fun. You can also get great seats for not that much money, which is great, and the entertainment's amazing. So those are probably my big LA three.
Have you been to an LAFC game yet?
I have not, and I've been dying to go. And I've been
so
offered
good.
tickets a few times, and every time I've had something. But everyone tells me that and Angel City are the most fun places to go right now.
It's a great, it's a great stadium. You're just so close to the action.
Yeah.
It's
next season,
well worth it. Yeah. All right, I've got a quick fire round of questions for you here.
I do love quick fires.
All right, here we go. In-N-Out or taco truck?
In-N-Out.
NorCal or SoCal for a weekend getaway?
NoCal.
The 405 or the 101?
101.
Redwoods or palm trees?
Palm trees.
Surfing or skiing?
I won't do either, but après ski is more fun.
Okay. Well, après surf is all sand.
Après surf is just laying in sand, so I will say skiing.
Napa wine or San Diego craft beer?
Oh, Napa wine.
Teacups or the Matterhorn?
Matterhorn.
Road trip in a convertible or a camper van?
Ooh, camper van.
Dream celebrity to go on a California road trip with, and where are you going?
Dream celebrity to go on a California road trip with. Can I say, even though he's dead, Huell Hauser?
Oh, yeah. You can say that.
Okay.
Respect that gentleman. Yeah. After taking over hosting this show, I've been watching so much more California's Gold, and he's so great.
One of the all-time great hosts. Yeah.
He was California Gold.
He was California. He should have changed his name to California Gold.
Oh, where are you going to go with Huell?
Huell, I want him to tell me I want him to take me somewhere I've never been in California. Like, let's say like Truckee. I've never been, but I want to see it, and I want the drive up there, him to tell me like, oh yeah, these are the native tribes from this area. I want the whole spiel.
Great answer. Best road trip song? Bonus points if you sing it.
I would say when you're getting on the 101, and you hear Jessica by the Allmans, which is instrumental, but that I always think of that driving on a highway when I hear that song.
It is. It's an excellent song. You can only say one California slang word for the rest of your life. What is it?
I think it's California. Dope.
Okay, it might be.
I think it's dope. I say it a lot, and like my kids are like, "Do you think you're young and cool? You're like an old loser." And I'm like, "All right."
Is there a slang word your girls say for cool?
For cool, slay. Like, yeah, slay. Or like I'll be like, "Oh, my new sweatpants came," and my daughter will be like, "I love that for you." Slay, Dad. And I'm like, yeah, I am slaying. These are pretty good. They're comfortable.
Buddy, it is always a pleasure. I can't wait to hang out with you again soon in the Golden State.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us here.
I love this for you, by the way, to Fort Foster.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just slaying. Don't forget, you can find more great travel tips and inspiration for your next Golden State adventure at visitcalifornia.com or on any of Visit California's social channels. Between episodes of California Now, you can catch me and more of my adventures on my other podcast, Family Trips with the Meyers Brothers. This podcast is produced by Visit California. You can find our show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.